Every year, thousands of college football players dream of becoming an All-American. For the dream to come true, it takes physical ability, hard work, and dedication, plus a special intangible quality we often call character. Hi, I'm Bo Schembechler, football coach at the University of Michigan. As president of the American Football Coaches Association, I have the pleasure of introducing 24 gifted athletes whose dreams have come true. They are the members of the 1983 All-America team.
Coaches see hundreds of athletes blessed with great ability, but only a few possess the special spark that leads to greatness. These rare athletes combine their God-given talents with intangible qualities like desire and dedication to bring a special gift to the game of football. That's what this All-America team is all about. At quarterback, Steve Young, a direct descendant of Brigham Young himself, is one of those extraordinary athletes. A wishbone quarterback in high school, Steve hardly ever threw the ball. But that's all changed now. And that running ability makes him even tougher to defend. Coach Lavelle Edwards almost made Steve a defensive back, but he's happy he didn't. The southpaw led the NCAA in passing efficiency and surpassed former BYU All-Americas Mark Wilson and Jim McMahon. Steve Young, master of the passing game and this year's All-America quarterback. A great quarterback needs great receivers, and that's what Steve Young has in two-time All-America tight end Gordon Hudson. In his 4-year career at Brigham Young, Hudson has caught more footballs than any other tight end in the history of college football. At 6'4", 235 pounds, size alone makes him difficult to bring down. But Gordon also possesses the quickness to outrun many would-be tacklers. Gordon Hudson combines with Steve Young to comprise the most prolific passing combination in college football. The All-America split end, Gerald McNeil, has caught more passes for more yards than anyone in the history of Baylor football, although he stands only 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighs less than 140 pounds. McNeil is a fearless receiver with blazing speed. A 3-year letterman in track, McNeil is one of the top 4 all-time Southwest Conference receivers. The coaches pick the All-America team. They spend hours reviewing game films, studying opponents, and evaluating the best players in the game. They get a first-hand look at the athletes and cast their votes for the most deserving in their region. The American Football Coaches Association tabulated votes from all the coaches, and the selection committee made the ultimate choice. From the miles of film and the votes, the men who coached the game selected only the very best for the All-America offensive line. Michigan center Tom Dixon is an All-America coach Bo Schembechler knows especially well.
Tom is a 250-pound center who's not tall, about 6'2", which really is an asset to him because he has tremendously quick feet and leverage. He's a former high school wrestler, and he's the type of a guy who can slide off one block and into another, and has been our starting center for 3 years, and is the best center that we have ever had at Michigan since I've been here.
a pre-med major, Tom is the 10th center in Michigan history to be named All-America. The Pitt Panthers have always been known for great linemen, and number 79, Bill the Bull Freilich, is probably the best offensive tackle they've ever had. Opposition coaches agree that Freilich is in a class by himself. His strength and foot speed are evident as he works against number 98. But most impressive about Bill is his uncanny desire to improve every week. His coaches believe Freilich could very well become the finest lineman in the history of college football before he leaves Pittsburgh next year. Offensive linemen don't get a lot of publicity, but that doesn't bother Doug Dawson of Texas.
An offensive lineman is not going to get the big headlines. An offensive lineman isn't going to get the glories that the running backs, that the quarterbacks, that maybe the good defensive players are going to get. But if you have the personal pride that you're doing the job to the best of your ability, the people that know football are going to realize that you're important and that you're doing is an important thing as the guys that are getting the headlines. So you just have to take it upon yourself to make yourself happy.
Even though Doug rarely sees his name in print, he receives the well-earned respect of his fellow teammates, opponents, and especially Longhorn coach Fred Akers.
Doug Dawson, I think, first of all, is as good a lineman as there is in this country. What has made him great, other than the ability that he was born with, was the tenacity that he competes with. He's a very intelligent young man who has developed his body and his mind to the point that he's accountable either way. He's a fighter. He's a great competitor.
East Carolina's Terry Long has emerged as a great offensive guard, leading the Pirates into the top 20. He played 1 year of football in high school at 160 pounds, joined the Army, where he played for the base team and began working with weights. Now he's 6 feet tall and one of the most devastating blockers in football. The secret to Nebraska's offensive success this season is guard Dean Steinkuhler, number 71. He's the pulling guard that's out in front of Turner Gill and is a big reason why Mike Rozier led the nation in rushing.
I think he's a little bigger than the rest of the guys. I always say Dean looked like a pro player already because he's so built and so strong looking. But we do a 41 pitch and Dean's pulling for me. Sometimes I see daylight and soon Dean just knock his man over. I'm scoring. Guys like Dean pulling for me, you got to score.
Burr, Nebraska, population 110, is proud of homegrown Dean Steinkuhler, the fastest lineman in Nebraska football history. When the home team takes the field on Saturday afternoon, it has the undying support of a true cast of characters. With all this support, you would think it should be easy for the home team to score touchdowns, but for some reason, it isn't. That's when you call on your All-America kicker to save the day. The All-America punter for 1983 is Randall Cunningham of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. The brother of former Kodak All-America Sam Bam Cunningham, Randall led the Pacific Coast Athletic Association in punting average this season. This versatile athlete, who also quarterbacks the Rebels, got off 2 73-yard kicks this season. Bruce Kohlmeyer of Kansas became the Jayhawks' all-time leading scorer in 1983. This soccer-style kicker has set a standard of excellence that will be hard to match, making 53 consecutive extra points and nearly 80% of all his field goal attempts. Bruce Kohlmeyer, the All-America place kicker for 1983. With the explosion of offense in college football, it has put pressure on the outstanding defensive players in the country. This season, they've met the challenge. The All-America defensive linemen for 1983 are North Carolina's William Fuller, Reggie White from Tennessee, Oklahoma's Rick Bryan, and Bruce Smith from Virginia Tech. North Carolina's defensive tackle, number 95, William Fuller, has been running loose in opponents' backfields for nearly 4 years. His aggressive, relentless style of play has earned him all ACC honors 3 years in a row. More importantly, he's the Tar Heels' team leader both on and off the field. At Tennessee, Reggie White, number 92, is called the Minister of Defense. Reggie's an ordained Baptist minister, but for 60 minutes on Saturday afternoons, he's an intense football player. His 12 quarterback sacks are a team record, and his performance has given all Tennessee fans faith in their defense. For the Oklahoma Sooners, defensive tackle number 80, Rick Bryan, has dominated the line of scrimmage 4 straight years. He works on the family farm during his summers and harasses opposition backs throughout the fall, tackling more enemy backs than anyone in the history of Oklahoma football, including former Kodak All-America Leroy Selman. The leader of Virginia Tech's sack brigade is junior Bruce Smith, a 270-pound defensive tackle with unbelievable speed and quickness. Heralded as the premier pass rusher in college football, this season he sacked opposing quarterbacks 21 times, getting to know many on a first-name basis. At linebacker on this year's team is Florida's Wilbur Marshall, whose selection was a dream come true. One of 13 children, he came to Florida 4 years ago to find a path to success. He has worked hard on the field and in the classroom and will earn a degree in criminal justice this spring. But before that, he will lead the Gators to an appearance in the Gator Bowl. Ricky Hunley, number 89, linebacker for the Arizona Wildcats, has earned his spot on the All-America team for the 2nd straight year. Whether it's intercepting passes or stopping runners in the backfield, Hunley's always making the big play. His younger brother Lamont now starts alongside Ricky, giving Arizona the most formidable brother act in college football. But Ricky's still the team leader and the major force in Arizona's emergence as a Pac-10 power. Ron Rivera, number 80, has established himself as one of the leading tacklers in the history of California football. This year, Ron lined up in a number of different positions to take advantage of his knack for making the big play, and it paid big dividends for the Golden Bears. Once again, the All-America linebackers for 1983 are Ron Rivera of California, Arizona's Ricky Hunley, and Wilbur Marshall from Florida. In the 1980s, quarterbacks are throwing the ball more than ever, giving pass defenders a greater opportunity to make the big play. This year's All-America defensive backs have become masters of the big play. UCLA's Don Rogers, number 7, loves the challenge of defending a great quarterback. While leading the Bruins in tackles 3 straight years, Don has gained the reputation of being one of the most aggressive backs in the country. Soft-spoken off the field, but an intense competitor on game days, Don forces opponents to direct their game plan away from number 7. University of Georgia defensive back Terry Hogue was not heavily recruited out of high school and hardly played as a freshman. But since then, it's been a different story. He led the nation in interceptions last season, and in 1983 set a Georgia career record for block kicks. At the same time, he has maintained close to a straight A average, majoring in genetics.
The 3' is buried, or the 5' is buried, depends upon whether you make the cuts the way we've shown them here, or whether you make the cuts.
My major is genetics, and it interested me at the time, and I thought it was a very intriguing part of the biological sciences. And they had just started a new major at the university, and so I decided to try again on the ground floor.
For Terry, combining academics and football successfully is a matter of having the right attitude.
If you come and you apply your common sense to football, you'll do well, because it's just a football sense. If you apply common sense to any of your studies, you'll probably end up doing well. It's not something that, you know, is really magical. It's just applying yourself, and I think it just takes common sense.
Whether it's due to his common sense or his natural ability, Terry has successfully developed into one of the most respected deep backs in the country. Defensive back Russell Carter's a track star in a football uniform. A member of SMU's national champion track team, Russell holds the school record in the 440. But he prefers to do his running on the football field, where he has become All-Southwest Conference 2 years in a row. Carter believes running track has made him a stronger football player and better able to take advantage of opportunities to make the big play. He has certainly done that, ending his career as the all-time interception leader at SMU. Texas safety Jerry Gray is only a junior, but he's already become a team leader on defense. He also leads the nation in making spectacular interceptions. On this play against Auburn, he broke his hand making an unbelievable catch, but it didn't keep him out of action. The Longhorns' Jerry Gray, a remarkable athlete and a Kodak All-America for 1983. In college football, the offensive backs not only carry the football, but carry the hopes and dreams of the entire team. Often their efforts can make the difference between defeat and victory. They're the game breakers, the thrill makers, the most exciting players in the game. Bo Jackson has been creating excitement for Auburn fans ever since he first set foot on campus just a year ago. Already, he has become the dominant back in the Southeast Conference. In 1983, he led the conference in all-purpose running while averaging a lofty 7 yards per carry. His running talents have been a major element in Auburn's return to power in the SEC and their berth in the 1984 Sugar Bowl. Nebraska flanker Irving Fryer and his teammate running back Mike Rozier give the Cornhuskers a true All-America backfield. With two talented athletes like Fryer and Rozier in the same backfield, it's hard to tell which one contributes more to the offense. Irving Fryer has come to the Cornhuskers' rescue many times during his brilliant career, first as a dangerous return man, then as a runner and receiver who can literally fly. His outside speed has proved to be the perfect complement to Mike Rozier's power running. Together, they've produced offensive fireworks seldom seen in college football. For the past 4 years, Nebraska fans have had the pleasure of observing firsthand the development of a great football player. Mike Rozier came from Camden, New Jersey with tremendous raw talent. At Nebraska, he matured as a runner, capturing virtually every Cornhusker running record. He worked hard on the field and in the weight room, strengthening his body and refining his ability. Mike's dedication to self-improvement and commitment to team goals has provided a model for his teammates to follow. Coach Tom Osborne knows whatever the situation, he can count on Mike Rozier.
He's a great competitor. He's played several times when he's really been banged up. Once he gets rolling in a ball game, it's kind of impossible almost to get him out of there. And he's a very complete football player. Mike is a tremendous blocker, and he also catches the ball very well. He throws the ball very well, and he's an enjoyable person to be around. He's got a good sense of humor and fits in well with the team concept. He's a unique guy, and he's a very, very deserving individual.
This season, Mike gained more than 2,000 yards and scored more touchdowns than anyone in NCAA history. But more importantly, he was a player whose individual brilliance never overshadowed his dedication to team victory. Mike Rozier, the leading vote-getter on the Kodak All-America team.
You've just met 24 of the finest young men in college football. Their accomplishments both on and off the field have set them apart from their peers. The American Football Coaches Association takes pride in honoring these special athletes, the 1983 All-Americans.
Here are the offensive backs, the receivers, and the offensive line. Now the defensive line, linebackers, and the secondary.